mornings. Let's go. All right. Everybody's awake? Right on. Early in the nest. Hey, you know what? I think I'm going to just take some pictures here. Picture. Look at that picture. Got Preston in the picture. Yeah. Got Wendy in the picture right there. Got Dan. Picture. Got Mary in the picture. I got everybody in the picture. You know why? I love pictures. I do. I love I have zillions of pictures, snapshots. And I also have photo albums like this one right here. And they have themes. This one happens to be on people in my ministry called Capernaum from years and years. These are just some highlighting pictures of all the things that happen. And I love having photo albums. So that's my Capernaum photo album. Did you know, you're not going to believe this. Did you know that God has a photo album? He has a photo album. It's right here. It's called the Bible. And it's got all kinds of pictures and snapshots of people and places. And they have themes. Did you know what the one this morning we're going to look at? God actually has a photo album of the resurrection of Jesus, when Jesus came alive, when he conquered death. That's what we've been talking about lately. And I want to show you a couple of photos from God's photo album about Jesus being risen from the dead. The first one is in the book of John, chapter 20. While I don't have the actual picture, I'm going to try to paint it for you in your mind. So I'm going to show 3 pictures this morning of the resurrection that God gives us. Photo snapshot number 1. It's a guy named Tom. Tom was one of Jesus' 12 best friends. And when Jesus rose from the dead and he showed himself to all his disciples, guess what? Tom was not there. Tom was out at McDonald's having a hamburger and he missed it. Tom was not there. And then when he came back, his other 10 buddies said, "Where were you?" I was at McDonald's, man. I was hungry. It's been a rough couple of days. Hey, Jesus came here. He's alive. And Tom, who had seen that Jesus was crucified and dead, said, "You guys are nuts." No. And they kept telling him, "No, we saw him. We saw the wounds in his hands and his feet. He's alive." And Tom said, "No, I'm sorry. Unless I put my fingers in his wounds, in his feet, in his side, I am not going to believe." So guess what, gang? For 8 days, his friends kept telling him, and he kept saying, "No, I don't believe." 8 days later, while they're all together, Jesus came into the room and he walked right over to Tom. You know what he said? He said, "Hey, Tom, go ahead, put your fingers in the wounds in my hand. Put them in there, and in my feet, my side. Don't go on not believing, but believe." And Tom, you know what Tom did? He dropped to his knees and he said, "My Lord and my God." And Jesus said, "Do you believe because you have seen me?" And now listen to this, because the next thing Jesus said, it was directly to each one of you, directly to each one of you today. From 2,000 years ago, before you were even born, Jesus was saying this to you. He said, "Blessed are those who have not seen, but do believe." Do you believe? Even though you've not seen Jesus, you're blessed. We can believe that Jesus is risen from the dead, even if we don't physically see him. We know he is because it's in God's photo album. He showed it to us. He said so. That's snapshot number 1. Snapshot number 2, in John chapter 21, 7 of Jesus' best friends are at the beach. Anybody love the beach? I'm a beach guy. They're at the beach. Matter of fact, one of my favorite singing groups, Beach Boys. Thank you very much. They're at the beach. And they're all kind of, Jesus is risen from the dead. They've seen him a couple times, but they're not really sure what to do. What the heck? And Peter, I don't know if you remember this, but Peter, in Jesus' most needed moment, betrayed Jesus. He denied 3 times that he knew Jesus around a campfire, charcoal fire. And Peter, this morning at the beach, was feeling really depressed. He felt like, I let down Jesus. He's alive now, but I'm not worthy to be around him. I failed. I screwed up. And he doesn't know what to do. So he just says to the other guys, you know what? I'm going fishing. So this is snapshot number 2 on a fishing boat. He goes fishing. Guess what? All night long, they can't catch one single fish. Complete failure. And now Peter's even more depressed. But on the shore, about 100 yards away, there's some guy standing there. And he says, hey, friends, have you made a catch tonight? And they all just very, annoyed, said, no, we didn't catch anything. Hey, throw your net on the other side of the boat and you'll make a big catch. And they're like, whatever. But they do. And all of a sudden, the net is filled with fish. And John says to Peter, it's the Lord. And Peter remembers when he first started following Jesus, he made a catch of fish like this. It brings Peter all the way back to the time he first started following Jesus. You know what Peter does? He puts on his clothes. He was naked fishing, threw his clothes on, and he jumped in the lake and swam as fast as he could to get to the shore, to get to be with Jesus. He couldn't wait. He loved Jesus so much, even though he felt he had let him down. So they get there. Here's snapshot number, whatever we're on, 3, I think. This is snapshot number 3. I told you 3, but there's going to be 4 actually. Snapshot number 3, Jesus has breakfast ready. He has a charcoal fire. He's got bread. And he says, bring some of the fish here. And they start putting the fish on a stick and roasting it over the fire. They're all there. And it says, this is the 3rd time Jesus appeared to them. None of them knew what to say. It was Jesus alive again appearing. They're still shocked at this. Well, they eat the fish. And Jesus says, come and have breakfast with me. How many like going out to breakfast? I love going out to breakfast with friends. I love that. And they're having breakfast together. It's kind of silent. They don't know what to say. And then Jesus says this to Peter in front of all the other friends. Peter, do you love me more than these? And Peter goes, yeah, Lord, you know I love you. He goes, feed my sheep. Silence. 2nd time, Jesus says, Peter, do you love me more than these? Oh, yeah, Lord, I do. Tend to my lambs. And now a 3rd time, Jesus says, Peter, do you love me more than these? And it says Peter was hurt that Jesus asked him a 3rd time. He says, Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you. Then feed my sheep. What was Jesus doing? Why did he ask Peter 3 times, do you love me? Do you remember how many times Peter denied Jesus? 3 times. Do you remember around what he denied him at? A charcoal fire. So Peter was smelling the smoke, reminding him of his denial. And all the while, Jesus was saying to Peter, you are forgiven, you are forgiven, you are forgiven. And he says it in front of his friends who knew he failed. And he puts Peter back into the community, forgiven and restored. And then snapshot number 4, Jesus gets up and says, Peter, follow me. And Peter starts following the risen Jesus. 4 snapshots. And what do they tell us? They tell us this. The risen Jesus, he's alive today. Do you know that? Did you know that he's right here at Sparrow? Do you know he's right here in the nest? That the resurrection was Jesus flying the nest out of death and letting us fly too? He's alive. And he continually, surprisingly puts himself in our path. If you look and you notice, you will run into Jesus all through the day today. So that's what I want you to do today. I want you to know that Jesus is alive, and I want you to look all day long to run into Jesus. Parents, help your kids see that. Kids, help your parents to see that. Look for Jesus today. See where you find him. Oh, I just spotted him. Wait a minute. I just saw him. He's right on my screen right now with all my friends. I know that's Jesus right there with me. See, I already spotted one. Who will you spot when today? Amen.
We are going to make a craft a rosette sheep. And just like Jesus is our good shepherd, we are his sheep. We are going to make our craft if this works. So all of you should have printed out a sheet that was attached in the email. It's just a sheep head and the legs. And if you don't have it, you can just take a white piece of paper and just draw a sheep head. So let me show you what it's going to look like when it's done, so you have an idea. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like lengthwise, and then we're going to cut it. Or I'm going to tear it. Once you have it cut in half, you just take now. We're going to use both, but we're going to start with one sheet, and we're going to fold it like a fan, right? So we're going to fold, I don't know, maybe about a quarter inch to a half an inch, and then back and forth all the way to the end of the paper.
Fold, good job.
It doesn't have to be perfect.
Turn back here. Fold.
Back and forth. Once you're done with one of them, do the same with the other half sheet of paper.
Okay.
So now what you're going to do is you're going to take the tape and you're going to tape the two pieces together. So line them up and just put a piece of tape to join the two pieces. Put it all together and then fold it in half. Just to crease it. Just to crease it.
Okay.
Fold it in half.
Fold in half.
And this is when you take the rubber band, if you have a piece of string, and you just kind of tie it.
Okay, mommy.
So what we're going to do is actually we're going to pull one end, and then we'll take that.
Oh.
And then we'll pull the other end, and then we'll take that, and then that's how you get the body for the sheep.
All right.
Yeah. Two ends, put it together, and then tape it.
The other side.
Now you take the sheep head. You should have this paper. You only need one, actually. So you have two choices. You can leave it like this and cut it out like this. Or if you want, you can use your black marker or black crayon and make a black sheep head and just color it in. Yes? Okay. So once you do that, for those who are done, you just basically take the tape and stick the head into the middle of the rosette.